Your summer vacation may cost a lot more this year, but demand is back and stronger than ever. For a look at the trends, we're now joined by Jamie Lane, AirDNA's Vice President of Research. Jamie, good to have you on here. So the strongest year on record, you say, for summer vacation demand?
Yeah, it's really unbelievable. Last year was the best year ever, and this year is going to break it. We're seeing demand up almost 14% for this weekend over last year.
Jamie, what about the chaos that we're seeing unfold at the airports? Thousands of flights delayed and canceled weekend after weekend. I would have to think that spooked some travelers out there.
Yeah, and the strongest demand we're seeing is actually in drive-to markets. Beach markets, really drive-to locations generate the most demand. So a little bit of hiccups at the airlines isn't going to hurt it too bad.
What type of trends are you seeing, Jamie, in terms of length of stays and any indication of the bleisure trend continuing, if not growing?
Yeah, we're definitely seeing an uptick in long weekend travel. So where you might have just taken the 3-day weekend, we see a lot of people taking 4 or 5 days for this extended travel period, and even linking it to the Juneteenth weekend that we had just a couple weeks ago. And really making a summer out of it.
So when you add on these 3-day weekends now, as you mentioned there with Juneteenth, what about where people are staying? During the pandemic, a lot of people didn't want to stay in some of these big hotels where you'd see huge crowds, and they turned instead to your Airbnbs and your rentals. What are we seeing in those markets?
Yeah, demand is still really strong. And what we've seen with the demand being so strong last year, that now there's been a lot more supply being added. So we've seen almost 25% more listings added on Airbnb and Vrbo over this past year that has allowed these destinations to now accommodate more people than ever before.
Jamie, it's a pretty expensive time to travel. Hotel stays up 33% compared to a year ago. Are there any great deals out there that are still available?
Yeah, and overall, short-term rental rates are not as high as hotels. We're seeing rates up 9% this year compared to last year. But there are some relatively inexpensive markets. Myrtle Beach, Destin come to mind, and actually some that have actually seen and weakness in demand and rates from last year. Some ski markets, if you're willing to go up to the mountains, Telluride, Lake Tahoe are seeing some weakness in demand this year.
Boy, 3 of the top 4 most expensive destinations from Colorado has been surprising in the Colorado mountains. Talk about the hottest destinations this summer, and what are you seeing in terms of types of rentals? Condos versus apartments versus homes, or even specialty long-term rentals?
Yeah, and specialty short-term rentals are the hottest things that you can get right now. Anything with amenities like a pool or hot tub, we're seeing really strong demand. And you see the markets with the highest ADRs, and it's really, these are our luxury vacation rental markets, long history of renting out, especially during holiday weekends. Those are markets where I actually see some weakness in demand, and maybe they're seeing a ceiling on the rates that they can hit.
So then, as you mentioned there, with the addition of more of these listings on Airbnb and with Vrbo, what can people do? If you're a seller, you're trying to rent this house out, what can you actually do to differentiate yourself from the crowd?
Yeah, that's where I really point people to the amenities that you can add to your listing. So making it family friendly, pool or hot tub, things like that. Even if it's just a playground in the backyard for families, can really make you attractive and stand out from the crowd.
Jamie, when's the best time to travel?
Well, the most popular time to travel is during the summer. And July is traditionally the strongest month of the year. And July 4th is the strongest weekend of the year. So this is busiest season. You're going to see the highest rates. If you want to find a time where you can get deals, it wouldn't be during the summer. You look during the shoulder seasons, so spring and fall. So maybe the summer gets a bit too expensive, look to push out that trip to the fall period.
And beyond the timing, Jamie, what are your tips for people that are looking to save and still get away this summer?
Yeah, I would suggest take advantage of the flexibility that a lot of us now have with remote work. Try to make that trip work during the week when you can get significantly lower rates than on the weekend.
All right, Jamie, good to see you. Jamie Lane with us today. Appreciate the information.